Hey guys, I don't know if anyone's there or not, or how many people are going to show up, but here I am to yak and doodle. So I just saw Sporkman posted they're going to start broadcasting too. So if no one shows up, I might just click over and listen. But we'll have to see how that goes. But, hey, I got one viewer at least. I can't see the screen with the comments on there, so let me get that loaded up here quick, and we'll see how that works out. I use the other device, so I'm not particularly adept at this yet. Excuse me. Bit weepy in the throat at the moment, I guess you'd say. Not weepy, phlegmy. It don't matter. So what we got in front of us here is page 3, or story page 2, now the prologue of our current storyline, Panic at the Ren Fair. And story page 2, now the prologue of our current storyline, Panic at the Ren Fair. I got to turn my volume on my phone way down. Nice to see you, Matt. I see your comment now. And for the record, I was here first. So I was here before there was a here. What? That's strange. Anyway, as I'm going to go ahead and just jump on and start coloring. So art, pencil and ink art was done by Ralph Gardeau. And he's a swell guy from here in town who I have had the pleasure of working with several projects with. And it's I really like working with Ralph. So he's got a great sense of motion in a lot of his stuff. It's got that old school Archie flair to it, and I think it fits really well with the aspect of our stories here. So. However, with this dialogue flow, I want to do a little shifting around. So I'm going to do some digital editing, and we're going to plop in an extra different panel for panel 1. So, Matt, since you're the only one here, do you want to know any particular thing you want to know or want me to talk about? I can go on about the history of comics or my particular universe or all kinds of crazy things. My personal experience or the experience my kids are dealing with right now? Well, I was a hyperactive kid, probably not a huge surprise. And in 3rd grade, my Mom pulled me out of school because I was getting beat by my third grade teacher. I was a child in the 80s. Corporal punishment was still a thing. I'm not convinced it should not be, but I was pretty mouthy as a kid. I got a few licks from time to time, and I don't mind any of them, a single one, because I had them coming for the most part. But with my third grade teacher, the only time I ever got a lick I didn't deserve, and at the risk of sounding weird about that, that was just the facts. I don't really want to hold it against her too much. She didn't know how to deal with it. She was not prepared for things. I don't have any personal animus about it. It's just the facts of it all. And I am not liking how that's working right now. So that was what happened. So my mom pulled me out and homeschooled me the rest of third grade year. Brought my scores from failing up to excellent. Not to brag or nothing, but my mom was a good teacher. And but with that, she homeschooled me in conjunction at home and in homeschool co-ops for the next 2.5 years. And then I was in regular school from that point on. And which I, was fine. I went to small schools, private schools, that kind of thing. But private schools are fraught with politics, and I didn't really feel like I excelled in that environment. When my face reveal. So when my wife and I were talking about having kids, I wasn't very keen on having co-ops were fun. It has social aspects, but still had the one-on-one instruction. By the way, you will hear screaming children. I'm streaming us out of my kids' karate class. So. Anyhow, I got to load up a thing here. The file I was working from, I did not care for how it was going, so I kind of got to start from the get-go on it. So I know it's got real boring to watch. Anyway, I said my experience in private school was one of irritation. And I didn't really care for the politics of all of that. So I was not keen on sending my kids to private school. But I've never trusted public schools for various reasons. And my wife was in public school her whole education, and she was very, very over that. So much so that she really felt like public school is pretty much just there to make you a cookie cutter, pretty much just there to ignore you and interfere with you as much as anything else. So she was very against the idea of sending our kids to public school. This is before we had kids. We we're about a month out from our wedding. She brought it up to me. She says, when we don't want to send them to public school, I want to homeschool. And I had been afraid to even bring that up to her because that's what I wanted. But um, I'm pretty old school about that. I figured that I would work and she would be home with the kids and everything. So I didn't want to just say we're going to do it this way, but that's really what I really wanted. So when she brought it up to me, I was bowled over, and I also knew instantly that I had picked the right lady to impregnate, to be mildly graphic about it, but to raise kids with, most specifically. She was the one, the only one. So I was very, very pleased about that. So I was using Krita earlier. I have switched to Paint Shop Pro, which I really enjoy. And of course, you can't even see the picture again yet, but there's about a 30-second delay on these. It's wild. Anyhow, reason I'm doing Paint Shop Pro is that this is, of course, a very old program. It's running from back in the day. 2003 was the version 8, the last full version that Jask made before they sold out to just my brain's just blanking here. Corel. And Corel, of course, repackaged the program. The OEM software really dumbed it down. For my money, is a damn shame because the suite, the levels of control this thing has are just, they're not quite Photoshop level. They are right on the edge. Yeah, she was absolutely the right girl. I got to learn how to do this in a way where I can see those comments more in real time, but I ain't going to sweat it today, that's for sure. For sure, for sure. Yeah, I do have two YouTube channels. So I never intended to do anything with this channel. This was just my personal YouTube account for doing nothing, just for watching videos. It ties to my email address, and the only reason I had a Gmail was because I bought an Android phone, right? Like all of America. But I wanted to get into the comic review game. I have for years had a long time thinking about it, and so and I've wanted to do YouTube stuff for a while, but I didn't want to do it in my own name. I just figured I would use my personal name is, Comics RX is branding for my YouTube stream, talking about comic reviews. And because I think it's a clever little joke, because I am all about clever little jokes. Almost a weakness for me. So I decided about 2 or 3 weeks ago I wanted to go ahead and do. I just need to find time to color the webcomics that I write, and I thought, well, hell, I'm spending this time taken away in front of a computer anyway. I might as well see if I can't use it as a little bit of a marketing thing. So I decided to start streaming my coloring content and stuff just on on the thing here, stuff that isn't related to the doctor theme of my other channel. So kind of just trying to play with the, I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV cliche. I'm not a comic doctor, but I'll play one on the internet. That's the theme of my other show, my other channel. This was just me making comics, so it just felt like that was the direction to go with it. And we'll see. We'll see how well that works. I might end up, not putting content on the other one. I want to get back to doing more reviews. That got put on hold this summer because I got real busy with house projects and being a middle-aged dude who gets tired easy, and went from there. So we shall see, though, whether or not I can pull that off. So. So that's a hard thing. That's a hard thing to say. So, I mean, not what I do during the day. That's not hard. I'm a community support worker. I work with mentally ill youth, trying to help them figure out what they want to do with their life and how to make that happen. We set up our own appointments, so that gives me a few minutes between things here and there to do things like upload stuff and check my messages and think about story ideas in between meetings. I'm also senior staff with my agency, with my program, and that means that I do administrative stuff. So I really set my schedule. As far as making time for it, I've been doing comics since 2006. So in a lot of ways, my wife will attest to this because this has been a bone of contention. Occasionally, I just sort of feel like everything else is making time for life around comics. That's just sort of, it's been a part of my life. Which is one of the funny things about this. I don't know if you've been following the hubbub lately. I've never been overtly flying the Comics Gate flag for a couple of reasons. One of which is that my Twitter is speaking for my company, Ideal Comics. That's why I have it. One was to catch back up with some of my webcomic friends who kind of, well, they stopped being on other social media stuff. And, good on them. But the other part of it was very specifically to do some marketing for the company. I discovered Comics Twitter. I got on Twitter to find these pals of mine, and I discovered Comics Twitter. I knew that that needed to be a thing. I needed to have a presence for the company, for myself. And if I was ever going to make serious about this review thing, and I've been written reviews for quite a while, but I knew that if I ever wanted to do anything with that, I needed to make that happen. The thing there. So, what the heck? Okay. So I speak for the company when I'm on Twitter, not in full, but definitely in part. And I also know that my one of my partners are not necessarily completely on board the Comicsgate thing. But everything that Comicsgate is about is something that I believe. As far as the taking a stand for the consumers, the whole piece, all of it. And so, I've been doing it, but I've been doing comics longer. So I'm not going to sit here and just brand myself with that. Because I've been here longer than Comicsgate has as a thing. I don't know if you follow Doug Ernst at all, but he talks about that. That's been part of his journey the whole time, and I'm right there too. So. But yeah, as far as big a time, I just. Let's see. So like I said, I've been using Paint Shop Pro for years. Really like it. Really love the interface. So much it's probably a problem, frankly. But I just recently got a new machine, and it was a Windows 10 machine. Was not sure Paint Shop Pro was going to work on it, so I started learning Krita. Krita's got some great coloring tools, and I really like using it, but some of the other features are not as smart, or maybe just not as intuitive as they are in Krita. I mean, as they are in Paint Shop Pro, and maybe that's actually me, not Paint Shop Pro, that is the issue. But PSP does allow me to save as Photoshop files, and Krita reads Photoshop files, so that gets used. So transfer between them. So I was thinking the other day, I don't remember if I actually posted this or not, but I'm telling you, I have this whim where I really think that we ought to find some way to make the matriarchy real. Some sort of product, a project. I don't know. Outside of comics, are my interests Celtic culture, um, religion, philosophy, uh, political theory. Uh, if it has to do with science, if it has to do with knowing things or understanding how things work, I have an interest in it. I have for years done my own mechanicking on my car. Um, I do my own house repair. I used to do construction. Of course, I have an interest in my wife. I have an interest in local history from West Nebraska. So, of course, my stomping grounds. So, yeah, those are. Well, I play guitar. I used to play mandolin, but my mandolin doesn't play right. I bought a cheapo mandolin, and it only took about 6, 7 months till the neck was too warped to tune properly. So that's a thing. Yeah, a stream that could be something fun. I'm not sure what that would take yet, but I'll have to figure it out maybe. Let the balls roll around inside the noggins for a little while. No, a mandolin is it's a European instrument. It's a eight-stringed, four-coursed, um, small lute that is an adaptation of a violin. Um, Almost all folk bands have a mandolin in it. Uh, that little Chinese thing is called I can't remember what it is. Um, a stringed instrument with three strings. I cannot remember what that's called right now. Although I should know, but I don't. But I should. So I also play the Irish frame drum, the bochrin. Um, I play a little bit of Turkish style finger drumming, although my drum is technically not that. I have a cheap, small knockoff djembe, African style goblet drum, but I am trying to learn finger drumming, um, which is a different kind of thing. It's a Middle Eastern thing. There is a weird crossroads between Celtic music and Arabian slash Turkish music. Well, he said he might stop by if he finds some time. I would love to have him in actually. Um, so, but yeah, I'm a big fan of Irish culture. So my family is actually I'm third generation American from Wales. You might have noticed I posted something on Molly Bean's page, Twitter earlier about that hoodie with the St. George's cross. So had to make a little deal about that. Dude, I cannot wait to read it. I actually really, really, really want to find some way to cross over. I'm not even playing by a little bit. Changeling looks awesome, and I totally want a piece of that action. So, this whole story I'm working on right now, it's called Panic at the Ren Fair, and it's going to follow. Actually, if you look at right up here, I'm going to put an arrow here. This is Chad. He's one of our main characters for our webcomic. He is he grew up thinking he was a bully, and thinking he was going to be a badass, and he gets sent to superhero high school. Right over here, this is Greg Mason, who always thought he was a good at two shoes, always trying to do the right thing, and they start sending him off to supervillain high school. They get split up. And this whole story follows Chad, who is discovered through his first year at hero school that maybe he's not such an evil guy, not such a bad guy, and maybe he even wants to do good. And he is discovered that his mom is a retired superhero and is going into that. Called The Tinker, or The Tinker's Daughter. And through the course of all of that, this is Chad's mom here. And going to find out that she's, spoiler alert, a little bit on that, she's going to end up in the Celtic otherworld, Anuvan. And we have a follow-up to the story called Anuvan Blues, which is the Welsh name for the otherworld. And in Anuvan Blues, he's got Chad and some other people are going to be going into the other world to try to rescue his mom. So that's going to be a whole thing. But this actually, it's not a book; it's a webcomic, and you can read the whole thing for the big price of nothing. Which is something we've always intended to do with Forces. We've been doing it since 2006, and it is a primer into our larger world, and that's what we designed it for, was so that people could sample the wares, so to speak, and get to know the rest of our universe. We have our universe is serious, and it's tragic, and it's funny, and it's a little bit of all those things, and we've always intended it to be that. Where it's a multi-function on that. So, function is probably the wrong word, but where it's got just a whole bunch of different flavors, something for everything. Try to use the tagline for every once and again, everything great about comics, which we live up to it. Who knows? Who gets to make that decision? I don't think it's me. Yeah, I've been, I was talking about that a little bit ago. I've been doing, we've just been doing comics for so long that there wasn't any other choice for us in a lot of ways. Just, we have what we have. We've just been at it for forever. And what are we gonna do? Quit doing comics. So, it's just not an option for me. So it's great to see so many people that feel like they've got that fire to get into comics. I'm so glad CG's done that. And I think it's just wild that you get some of those anti-forces that are just like, oh, you're just ruining comics. I just like, and so many people wouldn't even try. They didn't believe they could make it. I'm just assuming you probably didn't get a chance to look at my video I just posted on my stream about my thoughts about Stan's death. It wasn't for the way Stan talked to fans. It wasn't for the people he inspired. I wouldn't be in. I wouldn't have thought I could write comics, even though I got into them before that. Um, it's just I wouldn't have. It wouldn't have been me, and it is. I mean, it has been for forever. I don't know. I wouldn't know how else to do. Yeah, it's not super long, but I put it up right before I worked on this, so I can't fault you for not having watched it yet. So here we've got Chad's mom and Greg's mom together again for the first time or something. This cover piece was done by my writing part, one of our partners, Barry. And all of those are character designs that Chris and I came up with. Chris was our one of our founding partners. Not to get too much into the weeds, but he and I, there's a whole story about that. Mostly good story. I'm not trying to naysay on any of that. But, Now, normally, I do use a tablet to color with, but like a friggin' moron, I didn't bring mine today, so I'm doing all the thing with a mouse pad. Way more cumbersome than I like, especially because Critters got these great fill tools and it's just zip, 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 zip without that, and I don't have it, so I'm just like, ugh, what the hell? Huge pain. File going in 3 different file formats just to get the effect I want out of it. Which is a little more nonsense than I usually care for. No, not at all like the one he's got, man. He's got a nice one. I've got El Cheapo knockoff copy. It's like you can get a new one like one I have for like $25. Well, I have a used one that Barry had to begin with. It's not nearly as slick as the one Denal's got. His is wicked. It's wicked good. I want that, but I think you actually, in order to justify the purchase of something like that, I'd have to actually be a good artist. I'm not going to claim that. At all. So this here's Demon Priest, by the way. Little carrot-topped fellow. And he is, in fact, both a demon and a priest. Not actually a priest. He's in rebellion. But his father, his parents are, dad's a demon, and his father is a Episcopal minister. His mom's a demon, and father's an Episcopal minister, and which is our little stab at ecumenical politics. But yeah, that's his little story. Rolf, the guy who did the art on this one, and I are working on. I say working, I mean like super slowly. But we are working on a graphic novel that is going to take the kids, some of the kids, on a spring trip for a spring. Thank you, by the way. Oh yeah, we're still together. I do the writing, most of the world building for us. Chris is currently he's working on finishing up a book that he's wanting to finish up, I guess. And I guess he's playing a lot of Fortnite, whatever. Barry, who did the art on this one here, he lives in town. He is penciling. He does pencil ink, digital coloring. He's working on our expositioner story. I don't know if you saw in the ads on that. He also is doing the primary writing and character design for an RPG version of Forces, computer RPG, a JRPG style thing that he's got in mind. He's wanted to do for a couple of years, and he's decided this is the year. So start on it anyway. That should be fun. I don't know if you ever see me share stuff from Rico Kobos. It is the Warehouse comic. It's a comic about cute animals in prison. He also is on the team, so to speak, and is working on Joe Jobs, which is our Patreon exclusive comic, or will be exclusive anyway. The first couple we're still giving away for free because that's how we roll. Ideal Comics, we're all about trying to sucker people in. I mean, convince them about how awesome our stories are. No, we're pretty much about sucking people in. Which one? See, you read that one. Which one? I've just prattled off so many things. Oh yeah, he's done a bunch of stuff with that. He's getting ready to release his fourth 24-page book of warehouse stories. Yeah, he got a hold of us last year when he found out he's from town. Also, he found out we were doing comics, and he's like, I want to hang out with people doing comics. So he kind of joined our local comics community, which is cool to say that we actually have a local comics community. Not everybody, I think, in the world gets to be that lucky, but we do. So I feel super pleased with being a part of that. Went from just us making comics at local coffee shops and putting them online to actually having hosted a mini con for our second year in conjunction with our local mall, and we've just had a lot of luck with stuff like that. control his breakdown. He has the misfortune of breaking everything he down touches. If it's a machine at all, his powers just dismantle it. We've seen him develop a little bit of control over that, but mostly he doesn't have that. So that's been its own fun with that a lot. So we're gonna see if this works. I'm afraid of that. Somebody just sent me an email. Yeah, breakdown is in fact the creation of my buddy Chris. He was dealing with this sort of catharsis about the fact that he is a horrible mechanic and had at the time real bad luck with cars. A big part of that was the fact that we were all super poor and his car sucked. I mean, just straight up sucked. He had a real crap car. It didn't help that he didn't really understand mechanics at all. One of the really funny dynamics that, not to spoil too much about it, but when this page goes up Friday, that's going to be part of the deal anyway, is that Chad is developing a superpower set that we're going to call the Tinkers, where he can, like his mom, he can fix pretty much any machine. And so with that, what the heck? That's not what I want. Part of the thing about breakdown story is that he really wants to be a mechanic. That's the whole reason for the get up, is that he that's what he wants out of life, is to fix things and to design things, but can't use anything more complex than a pencil. And that's part of his personal tragedy. We actually did a solo story, pulp style, with him a few years ago, and that's called Pulped Heroes Break It Down. And that's part of his story, is that just the frustration he feels over not being able to do the one thing that he feels like he was made to. Obviously, he wasn't made to, which is another part of his personal tragedy. But that's all part of breakdown story. And so we have a lot that's built into that. But Chad and their pals, Chad, he can build anything without even thinking about it as a tinker. It's just part of his superpowers, because he understands the working of all machines. And he just has a sense for all that. No, not if there's moving parts. A lot of electronic things. We actually in the prequel to this part of the story, we actually do a bit where Breakdown has he won't use a photocopy machine because he knows it'll just go away. So that's part of his whole thing. The other funny part of Breakdown's story is that he actually comes from a quote unquote heroic family. His father had always wanted to be a cop, but unfortunately sucked at it. And so he is the town meter maid. Now, all the forces stories happen in rural Wisconsin. Much love to Mike Nelson from Mystery Science Theater for that. Wasn't his idea or anything, but both Chris and I are such huge Mystery Science fans that we went ahead and put that as part of why we placed this stuff there because of our love for Mystery Science. Well, it looks like my kids just finished up their class. It's about time for me to take off. It's been fun hanging out. Appreciate you tuning in and everything. For the reels. And let's keep putting our head together about the matriarchy, see what that can come about. Depending on what kind of thing it is, it may end up having a good home on my other channel, quote unquote main channel, whatever you want to call it. Absolutely, man. I'll be, you could check out our Patreon. We've been mirror posting this on that or on our website. And I'll be doing this probably once a week as as just as something to do while I'm working on it anyway. So, but great, man. We'll see you on the tweet sphere, if not elsewhere, man.